Happy Wednesday, guys. Today's home workout is a quick AMRAP 10 of 3 and 3 pistol squats or single-legged squats per side, 6 burpees, and then 9 kettlebell swings. This one, guys, we want to keep that high intensity with. So yesterday was a little bit slower. Today we want to kind of go at a faster pace. Really trying to keep that intensity high. Just working not above threshold pace, but just below it so that we can manage that throughout the 10 minutes here. So the pistol squats in this one should be a progression that you can kind of get through 3 on both sides with good form and consistently. 6 burpees. Again, we want to move unbroken without breaking that up. 9 kettlebell swings at the end of each round. I would take a quick little breath here in between your burpees and your kettlebell swings, and then make sure you're doing all 9 unbroken, ideally throughout every round that you do in this workout. So in the 10 minutes, ideally want to try to get about 7 or 8 plus rounds in this one, guys. So almost a minute per round, but you might be falling off just a little bit. So maybe a minute 15, minute 20 per round in this one. But try to aim to get about 7 or more rounds in this workout. The biggest thing that will dictate that workout would be the pistol squats, so the progression you choose here. If you are comfortable regular pistol squats, getting your feet out in front of you doing them, go for them in this workout as long as you're keeping a good form. Knees tracking in line with the big toe and the hips staying nice and stable. If you're not able to do that quite yet, you can always scale that back down to reverse lunges, some skater squats, something that will allow you to kind of keep that pace nice and high. Then the other 2 movements, guys, should be something you don't really need to scale with, but more just kind of control your pace throughout in this workout. Once you're done this workout, guys, we're going to finish off with an afterburner 5 sets of 5 and 5 strict press per side, single arm strict press, then single arm fly. So really working on that overhead position and making sure we're engaging our scabs, making sure they're in the right position as we're pressing that object overhead. Once you're done, hope you guys enjoy this workout today and the afterburner. Make sure you guys do that afterburner. It's a good one to really kind of also really get some mind-body connection in that one, or mind-muscle connection in that one, especially with those scabs. Sometimes we push with the shoulder first instead of thinking about setting that shoulder as we press up. So that's a good one to do as a kind of closer to the end of your workout session. Hope you enjoy the workout and the afterburner, guys. We'll see you next for the warm-up video.
Okay, let's get ready to warm up here. We're going to start off today's warm-up with the 90-90 hip rotation. So opening up the hips. Really the 90-90 is to focus on your internal rotation and your external rotation in your hips. A lot of times, whether you're squatting, you're running, box jumping, anytime you're moving the legs, we're not necessarily moving effectively in our hips because the rotation in our femur, so your thigh bone, isn't necessarily recruiting all the correct muscles. What I'm trying to get at is your hip flexor, your psoas, to be specific, tends to get neglected. So this 90-90 really helps, guys, to open it up, loosen it up, and slowly start firing those smaller muscles. You're gonna start in your seated position, heels on the ground, guys. Knees are about 90 degrees. From here, notice how my hands are hip in line with my hips or slightly behind. You can play around with this. You're gonna drop your knees, okay? You drop your knees, and you feel maybe it's a stretch, whether it's on either leg, hang out there, hold it, okay? If you can't touch your knee to the floor, just gently try to push down as your body relaxes. Now it might be tricky to see, but my knees are actually about 90 degrees, both of them. That's where the name comes, the 90-90. From here, I'm going to rotate my knees to the other side without lifting my heels off the ground. So notice how I'm just rotating, but my heels did not change position, okay? So now I'm feeling a little tight here, so I can feel the stretch myself. So I have to reposition my hand. The key here is do not reposition your heels. It's really easy to I'm doing it, but you're actually not rotating through your hips when you're moving your feet. Okay, so you're gonna rotate in your hips, so this thigh for me is externally rotating as this one is internally rotating. So I'm feeling that rotation in my hips. Then I reverse the order. External rotation, internal rotation on the opposite side. The key here, guys, use this as a stretch. Feel the rotation in your hips. As you get more comfortable, come off the ground with your hands. See, can you not move your heels, but use that core to stabilize yourself. After you've done that, now let's get that heart rate going. Let's get those muscles fired up, guys. We're gonna go for 3 rounds, 30, 20, and 10. Alternating step up. So starting with 30 alternating step ups, you're gonna go up, step down, go up, step down, trying to fire up the hamstrings and glutes on that one, okay? Stabilize your knee, so don't let your knee drop depending on how your object is. Watch for that, okay? Once you've completed the 30, then you're gonna go into your push-up position. So your high plank. From here, shoulders over your wrist. You're gonna bring your knee to the opposite side. Bring your knee to the opposite side. You're going for 30 mountain climbers, crossing your body, getting your core fired up, okay? From there, the last movement, going for some bent over flies. So I'm using these 10-pound plates here today. I'm gonna hinge at the hips, so lean forward by sticking my bum back. From there, my back is flat, and then I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades, bring it down. Squeeze my shoulder blades, bring it down. Do it until 30. As you squeeze your shoulder blades, don't roll forward. It's okay to bend the elbows slightly so you can maximize the usage of your upper back. If you have the flexibility in your bicep and your triceps and your back muscles, feel free to go straight, guys, but play around with it to make sure you get the most out of your back without lowering the plate down too much. So you're not doing this, okay? Trying to keep them in line to your shoulders. Once you've completed 30, you're going to roll back onto your step up for 20, repeating your movement, working your way down on the last round, doing that final round of 10. Have a great warm-up. See you next in the workout.
For the pistols today, if you have pistol squats, go for them today. You can go off the end of your couch, or if you have a ball or anything that you want to go up to your height to work on that pistol, you can do so. Also mentioned you guys can do some reverse lunges for the workout as well. So I'll use a weight for those reverse lunges. I'm going to try and put a little bit more weight on that front foot or the working leg there. So my left leg's going to be on the floor there. I'm going to drive that right leg back, trying to put as much weight in that front foot. And then as I start standing up, I'm going to shift my weight to that front foot and then stand it up from there. Then switch, opposite leg comes back, and then you drive through that front foot. You can also play around with doing some curtsy lunges too with that weight. So we're going to send that foot behind that front foot, out to the side, trying to keep the hips as straight as possible or square as possible forward, and then driving through that front foot to stand it up. This one will work a little bit more on the inside of the leg and the stability of the knee laterally, so you can work on that as well as an option for those pistol squats today.
Where do you position your rope for your burpees? Then from there, you're going to go into your burpees. So 3 to 5 burpees, finding that rhythm of what the speed is going to be. Are you stepping into it? Are you jumping up for it? Play around with it. What works for you? Okay. So for your kettlebell swings, something new that I want to talk about here, guys, that sometimes we miss, we don't mention it enough, is your knee position. So I will see when the kettlebell's going down, things look awesome. As soon as you're about to shift your weight to go up, sometimes I'll see the knees shift. You may not even notice that. But when your knees shift, your weight is now transferring to mid-foot to the front of the foot. So now I got my lifters on, but you can still see that the weight is off my heels. So now I'm pushing and driving my hips through my quads. So knee position on the rebound is very critical. So when you go back up, don't let your knees scoot forward too quickly, okay? Keep your knees somewhat back to create tension in those hamstrings to get everything out of your hips, but coming from the hamstring opposed to your quad. This is such a common problem that is seen on Olympic lifts, whether it be the jerk, whether it be the clean or snatch, this is your time where you can fix that knee position, which is, for Olympic lift, is that second pull, when you're transitioning from the first to second pull. Now, if that's too complicated, or you're not sure what that means, ignore me, just focus on the knee position on your kettlebell swing spin.
All right, so we're here for the afterburner, 5 sets, 5 and 5 strict press, and then 5 and 5 single arm flies. So I got a dumbbell and a plate here. You guys can use whatever you have at home. Keep it light for the first couple rounds so you can really feel the upper back and use the proper muscles before you start getting heavy with this. So I'm going to demo with the 5-pound plate here. For the strict presses and the flies today, guys, let's try and focus on the positioning of our scap. So it's very common with the press, for example, to kind of almost overreach with that shoulder. So we're kind of pushing that shoulder out of its socket. I want you to keep the shoulder down. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge if you haven't done this or thought about this before, but keep the shoulder down. Think about pulling the shoulder blades towards each other, so squeezing them together to set that shoulder. Then from there, only just drive through that elbow as you go up and controlling the way down as you come down. Just make sure that shoulder is not moving out of its place. Kind of think of that as its foundation. Keep that foundation nice and strong. So holding it down with those lats, that's where it is, keeping it in that proper position, and then only just using that elbow to extend that weight overhead there. 5 reps there, guys, and then 5 reps on the opposite side. Feel free to use any position, so you can sit on the floor, legs straight, or in a straddle position. You guys can try anything for that strict press. For the flies, same idea here, guys. Might be a little bit harder to notice, but sometimes when you try to lift that weight up and it's a little bit too heavy, we almost want to use a little bit more of the traps to kind of lift it up to compensate. So again, right before you start, squeeze those shoulder blades together, keep that scap down, and then keep it slight bend in the elbow. Don't worry about keeping it nice and straight at first. Slight bend in the elbow, lift as high as you can while keeping that shoulder blade down, and then back down again. If it's only up to here, don't worry about going up in weight. Just try to see if you can go up a little bit higher each time without letting that shoulder roll forward or in any direction. So keep that nice and stable, and then increase your range of motion. Once you're comfortable getting it up to that shoulder height, at least, then you guys can go up in weight. Same thing as you can do it from a bent over position. So I'll bend over at the hips, slight bend in the elbow there, and then I'm going to think about pulling that weight out to the side. While I do that, I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together and making sure I'm not shrugging forward. I'm keeping the shoulder blade down. So enjoy this one, guys. 5 and 5 reps on each side. Great unilateral work to work on that balance of the strength on both sides. Increase in weight if it feels good. If not, just work on the positioning of the shoulder blades. See you guys tomorrow for the next workout.